Hello, fellow seekers. Welcome back to the Law of One Spiritual Advice Podcast. My name is Elle, and I return to speak on some spiritual philosophy and share with you my opinions and life experience on it in relation to the Law of One. So today, I have a little bit of trouble coming up with exactly a title for it, but I have a few ideas as to what what will transpire here. So we're going to be talking about knowing thyself, specifically knowing your polarity. So what is your polarity? What is polarity? What does all that mean? And we're going to go into people who maybe don't share the same polarity as you. How would we love those people? How would we accept those people who maybe seem to be on a seemingly different path than you? So there we have the left and the right hand path, and we'll talk about authenticity, because a lot of seeking is you learning about yourself. Know thyself, be thyself, step into yourself. So part of that is being authentic. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to serve without paradox, which is essentially the same thing as talking about like how to love a negative seeker, how to accept them. All paths lead to the one, and of course, as every podcast seems to go over, free will recognition. So what how does free will play into all of this? So I will begin with just a quick explanation in case somebody here is kind of new to this type of information and has not read the Law of One. What I would suggest is that we here are in third density, and third density is the density of choice. So like the third dimension, some people call it. Third density is the density of choice. The choice to serve the self as the creator, or to serve all other selves as the creator, which includes yourself. So you kind of have these two choices. You may call them the negative or the positive path. The negative path would be the left-hand path, and the positive path would be the right-hand path. Both paths, to my understanding, do lead to the one, so it's important that we recognize that just because we see somebody on a different path, that shouldn't stop us from attempting to accept them for who they are. There's a proclivity, a want, a need in a lot of us to want to correct the negative seeker, to correct the evil doings of the world. And I'm not saying that I'm pro-evil or anything like that. It's definitely not the case, definitely anti-evil. You just have to put it in the right perspective in your head so as to not torture yourself with thinking you have a lot of power over the evil. Like, most of it comes down to free will. So, I mean, you still do your best and do the positive things in life, but there's a way that we can look at the negative seeker and sort of accept them in our hearts in a better way, so that part of opening the heart and the heart chakra is, actually, let's step back. The previous chakra, how would you open the yellow chakra? You love everyone who is in relation to yourself. How do you open the heart chakra? You open it by loving every personality and possibility of personality, basically loving everybody that you don't know. Of course, it's easy to maybe love the people that we know, but then you have to contemplate all the good and the bad and the evil and the infinity of personalities that exist out in the universe. They are all a portion of you, and so for you to deny them within your head is to sort of deny an aspect of the creator. It is better to recognize that aspect of the creator as a part of the creator, but then still recognize that you have your own path and that they may not resonate, they may not be complementary to what you are doing, and therefore you seek something different, and that is okay. So I think that's kind of the important part here. But I'm going to read you a quote. So first, I'm going to start with sort of just the difference between, like, why would you seek out the light or the dark path? And the light path would be the right-hand path, the positive path, the left-hand path, negative path, the dark path, just so you have your metaphors all down. So in session 1917, Ra is in the Law of One material, the Ra material, Ra is describing here basically just the difference between the two perceptions of the two different types of seekers and how they may wish to view things in terms of their polarity. So just to make it a little easier here, Ra says, some love the light, some love the darkness. It is a matter of the unique and infinitely various creator choosing and playing amongst the experiences as a child upon a picnic. Some enjoy the picnic and find the sun beautiful, the food delicious, the games refreshing, and glow with the joy of creation. Some find the night delicious, their picnic being pain, difficulty, suffering of others, and the examination of the perversities of nature. These enjoy a different picnic. All these experiences are available. It is the free will of each entity which chooses the form of play, the form of pleasure. End of quote. So as you see, you have your two polarities. It is just a matter of essentially perception. How do we choose to perceive the creation about us? Do we wish to see the creation as an illusion of separation in which you are sort of the creator? This is the negative path. You are sort of the creator, and you wish to serve others by putting them in, like basically enslaving them, by showing them the service to self path, by showing them the rightness of that path, at least that they believe is the rightness of that path. And then you have the right-hand path, the light path. These people, entities, seekers, they seek harmony, they seek love, they seek light, they seek cooperation. They respect free will. They would like to recognize all the aspects of the creator in their infinity of distortions and just bring them into the heart and love them. That is the nature of the positive path. And they state there at the end, right? They say, it is the free will of each entity which chooses the form of play, the form of pleasure. And I would like to read you a little bit more on the free will importance of that. So the first distortion in the universe, to my understanding, is free will. In other words, it would be pretty complicated to talk about it all right now, but basically the universe was created, and the first distortion of that creation, the one that we are living in right now and we are a part of, is free will. So essentially the universe came up with this aspect of free will, and through that free will created love and created light and created through light created the universe with light and love and free will. So, meaning step one is free will, meaning it is really important, meaning you really should keep it in mind upon every other aspect of your seeking. It kind of comes before everything else. So even though you may want to do really good with love and assisting another being and trying to see the world the way you see it, maybe, you still always need to consider the free will aspect. Does that person care? Does that person want to know what you're giving them? You just have to respect their free will. Like, you can obviously offer something without expectation, but if that person does not wish to be a part of whatever it is that you're offering them, that is their free will, and you need to respect that more so than your want to show them love, if that makes sense. So it says here in the quote in session 1521, the first distortion, free will, finds focus. This is the second distortion, known to you as logos, the creative principle or love. This intelligent energy thus creates a distortion known as light. From these three distortions come many, many hierarchies of distortions, each having its own paradoxes to be synthesized, no one being more important than the other. End of quote. So I just wanted to read you that one, just so you understand the importance of free will. It kind of goes free will, love, light. So free will, love, and compassion, like the creator, the logos, and then from there, light, which is like the creation, the manifestation of love and free will. So anytime you're thinking about anything with spiritual stuff, you need to consider the very important aspect of free will, both the free will of yourself and the free will of other-selves. And so let's talk about what is seeking, right? So seeking is healing. But when you're seeking, you're, like I said just a second ago, right? There's free will, love, and then light. So what is everybody doing with their free will? Well, they're seeking. They choose their free will to seek, to know. And as they seek to know, they're playing with various distortions of love, whether you see it that way or not. And this is sort of how they state here in the material, the creator neither blinks at the dark or the light. The free will power of the creator is available to all seekers who seek for any reason. So if I can remind you that this universe is about love, and even though you may look at a negative seeker and see that they may be very void of love, they are still playing a game of love. It's essentially a game of love of self. They think that the love of self is the appropriate thing to do in the universe. They really authentically feel that the love of self and the teaching of the love of self to other people through sort of enslavement, manipulation, to resonate with that path is what they honestly feel is correct. So what do you honestly feel is correct, right? So then we do a positive seeker. Assuming you're listening to this, I assume you're more of a positive seeker as I seek to assist the positive path here, right? So the positive seeker, like, what are they thinking in terms of their authenticity? Well, they're thinking, hey, I don't know exactly what's going on. I am an entity who I feel is of love and of the Creator, and I wish to share that love of the Creator as it is known to myself with others, and I wish to respect their free will process as they seek to seek the Creator in their own way, but I want to share and offer compassion and love and service to others, to the best of my ability. And I basically see myself as the Creator, but I see everyone else as the Creator as well. So there's not necessarily any need to manipulate and enslave others for the benefit of myself, because there really is no difference between myself and other selves. I seek to serve and do the highest and best, and therefore sometimes that requires that maybe I do something good for myself, and sometimes it requires that I do something good for an other self. In reality, there really is no difference between me and that other person. I just seek harmony, and I want to share that with others. So that is just a brief sort of maybe the way that the two paths will think about each other, right? But then the main part here is being authentic. So Ross states in session 8812, be yourselves and offer that which is in and without you, without pretense of any kind. End of quote. I talk a lot about spontaneity and service and, the best way to serve, and should you sit down and think super duper hard about the best ways to do things and all of this, and to a certain degree maybe you could, but it is good just to be your authentic self. Ross states in another place something like, in session 6711, they state, your portion of the Creator is as it is, and your experience and offering of experience, to be valuable, needs to be more and more a perfect representation of who you truly are. End of quote. So who you truly are? Who are you? Are you a service to self entity? Are you a service to others entity? Do you seek light or do you seek dark? So first, know thyself. And as you know thyself, and you come to resonate with one of the two things I'm stating, you need to become that. You need to become who you are. You need to express who it is that you are. And you are unlike anybody else in this entire universe. We are a universe of infinity, and there's various distortions that you hold and I hold, and no two are the same. And so therefore, you need to figure out who exactly it is that you are, and you need to be that authentic self. And believe it or not, being your authentic self is also how you serve others maximally. You serve others maximally by being the best you that you can be. I know it sounds stupid. Being the best you that you can be, right? Like, we can go out and we can try to arrange the world and things like this, but is that old quote always comes down to be the change that you wish to see in the world. There's so many quotes which state the same thing. You want a newer age one? Sir Jordan JBP, he likes to say, clean your room before you try to go and fix the world. It's the same thing. It's like, basically, is your life and all the small things in front of you chaotic? Well, order those things, that chaos, clean your room, do the things that are in front of you that are distorted, and have them lead to harmony. And as you create harmony in your sphere, it will spread out into larger spheres of influence. So, clean your room, clean your house, be nice to your friends, family, clean up that environment, and as you do that, you create the opportunity for that same harmony to expand out into larger environments like the world and politics and things like this. But a lot of people kind of get it backwards, and they like to, have their life in shambles and then try to reorder the world as a sort of coping mechanism, in my opinion, whereas they could really just attempt to, take care of themselves and be that change that they wish to see, and through those efforts, create the change that they are so demanding that the world be, because when the world sees them behaving in that way and it has positive benefits, other people will imitate it. It's just the nature of humans. So, okay, so I've kind of gone all over the place with this one, but that's okay. Trying to just offer you it spontaneously, and maybe there's some little magic that's being delivered in the message. So I would like to read session 6711. This is more about the polarity aspect of yourself and of others, and I suppose how you would accept an other self who is on the negative path. So you're a positive seeker, assumingly. You run into somebody who seems to be on the negative path, or you see them on the news, or whatever it is, right? You have this idea of a person who I'm trying to describe in your head. So think of that person, right? It's easy to hate that person, to think you're evil, you are garbage, you are like, I do not resonate with anything that you are about. Okay, so think of that person. Now, in your heart, if you are sort of having that attitude about them, it's okay because it's authentically how you feel, but it does need to come into, let's say, a healthier configuration, which would be one that says something like, hey, I respect your free will to seek as you see fit, and although I see how you could see the rightness in what you are doing, I seek a different way, and there is no necessarily wrong way to seek, and therefore, my friend, you do as you will, I will do as I will. Thank you for your opportunity that you offer me, but I reject it, and I seek to serve love of others instead of love of self. So right here, they state, session 6711, all are the creator. There is one vast panoply of biases and distortions, colors and hues in an unending pattern. In the case of those with whom you, as entities and as a group, are not in resonance, you wish them love, light, peace, joy, and bid them well. No more than this can you do, for your portion of the Creator is as it is, and your experience and offering of experience, to be valuable, needs to be more and more a perfect representation of who you truly are. Could you then serve a negative entity by offering the instrument's life? It is unlikely that you would find this a true service. Thus, you may see in many cases the loving balance being achieved, the love being offered, light being sent, and the service of the service to self-oriented entity gratefully acknowledged while being rejected as not being useful in your journey at this time. Thus, you serve one creator without paradox. End of quote. That's sort of a more eloquent way of saying what I just said, right? So you see a negative entity, you don't necessarily want to create hate in your heart. The heart chakra is of acceptance, love, and understanding of all beings essentially out there. So you instead, look at that person and you say, hey, you know what? The authenticity of myself, which seems to resonate with the positive path, is not resonating with the negative path that you are offering me here, dear negative seeker. I appreciate your service. I wish you love, light, joy, comfort, but I gratefully reject what it is that you offer and the way that you seek and the perceptions that you seem to want to give to others. But, thank you, but no thank you. Okay? So now, instead of creating a hate in your heart, you have created a sort of paradoxical acceptance. It is stating that, you're not trying to push this person out of your heart. You're trying to bring them into the heart. Say, hey, I love you and your free will, and I use my free will to do this. You may use your free will to do that. That is fine. All entities seek the one in their own way, and all paths will lead to the one. And so there is no real need for you to control some other self into seeing things the way that you're seeing. They will see things the way they want to see, and it's their free will to do that, and they will find what they need to find. For you have faith in the Creator will lead them to the path that they need to be on. All is well. And I'll state here in session 20.27, they state, the original desire is that entities seek and become one. End of quote. So to reiterate, it doesn't matter how you seek. You seek the positive polarity, the negative polarity, all are two aspects of the same thing. They are just perceptions of seeing love in a slightly different way, either a love of self or a love of self plus other selves, which includes all other selves, right? It's just a matter of perception and free will and the way that they wish to see things and the authenticity of their being and the resonance with those two paths. So as you seek to do well and to seek to be the positive path, that is fine. You'll run into the negative path and you know, say thank you, I love you, but no thank you. Take care, good friend. So that's it. So I know I have talked about this before on previous podcasts, but there is always small aspects that I miss or some type of quote that didn't find its way in that I wanted to. So yeah, you know, it's okay if we can kind of have the same podcast over and over again, because as is with seeking, it is a lot of the same things that happen in a sort of repetitive manner. You know, instead of thinking of life as a circle which goes around and you get the same lesson over and over, think of life as a ascending spiral. It is a circular spiral which goes up. So yes, you do run into the same lessons over and over again, but you hopefully are seeing them from a higher and higher perspective, which each time you go through the lesson, you learn a bit more, you have a higher perspective, the lesson comes around again, and you're able to hopefully view it from a new perspective, a higher perspective. So as the lessons come around in a circle again, fret not, you know, it's just another opportunity for you to seek in your authentic way and to reaffirm, you know, your positivity or negativity, which you seek to serve in your own way. So, my friends, thank you so much for listening this week. I really hope you enjoyed the podcast. And if you appreciate this podcast, you can maybe give it a like, leave me a comment. It always helps with having other people see this. I do seek to want to be doing this on a fairly long-term basis. And so if you find value in what I do, I have now been doing this for almost a year straight now, and so I can say that I do have some consistency with putting this information out and attempting to serve in this way. So if you find value in what I do, please consider jumping on my Patreon, shooting me a one-time PayPal. I am a human as well, and money is an aspect of my life, and I do not wish to necessarily, shill you any products per se. I really believe the highest form of service is freely giving. And so I will freely give this to everybody, no matter what. But if you are in a place of abundance and are able to help somebody like me, to have more time to put my attention on this instead of having to deal with life and work and all that stuff, it is highly appreciated. I love you guys. Thank you for having my back. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being you. Thank you for seeking. Thank you for attempting to be authentic, and thank you for serving and trying to be a good moral person. I'm finding lately in my life that, well, this seems to be a common thing that I go through, where I am trying to do really good for others and serve others, and I get frustrated at the sort of lack of reciprocation. I know that's not what I tell you guys all the time, that you should serve without expectation, but like I state, I am human. So I, often will serve over and over and over again, just like doing little things. Like, it's honestly not huge things. They're just like little things for people. And I think, hey, if I care about this person, I would do this for them. And then I just kind of get like constant non-care thrown my way, and sometimes even worse, fingers pointed at me, like that I have negative intentions. And so it can be really frustrating when you're like really attempting to serve and be a positive moral entity, and just do like the little things which most people would instead find like a reason to be petty and egotistical, and they're like, well, I'm not going to do that because this person did that, so haha, and feel all justified in your retribution. Like, I really try to put that aside, but sometimes what happens is I get frustrated at the lack of non-care that's returned my way, and I don't know what the lesson is in that, other than just to vent my frustration like this here and there. It helps me to sort of get over it, and then I can keep on serving in a positive manner, and hopefully putting my little egotronics aside, and being the bigger person and just keeping on attempting to serve instead of falling into frustration and then kind of falling into the sinkhole of indifference of being like a negative entity, meaning sometimes you can have a positive seeker who kind of flip-flops. They go from the positive path to negative path, the positive path to negative path, and they don't quite keep seeking the same thing over and over again. And that's sort of what I feel like sometimes happens to me when I'm attempting to serve and be an authentically positive person. I'm sort of challenged by life to be like, well, nobody's going to give you nothing back. So, deal with it. Is this really what you want? And and so yeah, I guess it's just a challenge, and I see it that way. Challenge to my ego to hopefully just be a better person, no matter what, no matter how little of reciprocation or care is given my way. I seek to serve, and so keep doing that. So I know that was a random little addition at the end, but it is as it is. Thank you, my friends, for listening. I love you. The oneinfinitecreator.com is the website with all the links, and thanks to LL Research, who provides us all this raw material for free to read and go over. I love and appreciate those guys. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Take care.